The journey back to the village felt longer than ever, each step a battle against the ache in Elara's leg and the weight of the unknown pressing on her mind. The whispering woods loomed behind her, their ancient trees standing sentinel as the last traces of dawn painted the sky in hues of pink and gold. The shard's dust still clung to her fingers, a faint reminder of the power she'd wielded and the fragile peace she'd restored. As she limped into the village, the air carried the scent of wood smoke and fresh bread, a stark contrast to the wild, untamed energy of the forest. The villagers gathered quickly, their faces a mix of relief and apprehension as they saw the blood-streaked hunter emerge. The headman rushed forward, his eyes wide as he took in her battered state. "You're alive," he breathed, then hesitated, glancing past her toward the woods. "But what happened?" The whispers, they stopped, but the air feels different now. Elara dropped her bow to the ground, leaning on it for support as she met his gaze. "I killed the shadow fong," she said, her voice rough, but it was guarding something. Something worse. "I sealed it back for now, but it won't hold forever." A murmur rippled through the crowd, some clutching talismans, others exchanging fearful glances. The headman's brow furrowed. "What do we do?" he asked, his tone laced with desperation. Elara straightened, wincing as pain shot through her leg. "You prepare," she replied. "Build defenses, train with what weapons you have. The woods will call me back when the time comes, and I'll need help if we're to survive what's waking beneath." She didn't mention the Light Woman's warning or the Old One's, those truths were too heavy for now. Instead, she turned toward the forge, where the blacksmith was already stoking the fire, sensing the need for repairs. Over the next few days, the village transformed. Under Elara's guidance, they reinforced their wooden palisade with iron spikes forged from the blacksmith's skill, and the children were taught to spot the signs of the wood's unrest, shifting shadows, sudden silences. She spent her nights sketching the runes from the trees, trying to decipher their meaning by the flickering light of a lantern, her fingers tracing patterns that felt both foreign and familiar. The purse of coins remained unopened, tucked beneath her bedroll. This fight was no longer just for gold. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the horizon crimson, the whispers returned. They started as a faint hum, barely audible over the crackle of the village fire, but they grew into a chorus of voices that seemed to emanate from the earth itself. Elara stood, her bow in hand, and felt the pull, the same call that had drawn her to the clearing. The Light Woman's words echoed in her mind, "Return when the whispers call." She knew the seal was weakening again. Gathering a small band of volunteers, 3 stout men, and a sharp-eyed woman named Lyra, who'd proven her aim with a sling, Elara led them into the Whispering Woods. The mist was thicker this time, the trees leaning closer as if watching. The runes glowed brighter, their light casting an eerie sheen on the undergrowth. When they reached the clearing, the ground was trembling, cracks spiderwebbing from the sealed center. The shadow thing was rising again, its form larger, its tendrils more numerous, a tide of darkness that threatened to overwhelm them. Elara shouted orders, positioning her group around the circle. Lyra's stones flew true, distracting the creature, while the men hacked at its tendrils with axes. Elara searched the ground, finding another shard, this one larger, its runes pulsing with desperate energy. She fought her way to the center, dodging claws and shadow, her legs screaming in protest. With a final heave, she drove the shard into the earth, chanting the words the Light Woman had whispered to her in a fleeting vision: "Bind the old, hold the deep." The runes blazed, a blinding wave of green light surging outward. The shadow thing shrieked, its form disintegrating into 1,000 wisps that dissolved into the air. The ground sealed once more, the roots knitting tighter than before, and the whispers faded into a hushed silence. The Light Woman appeared, her form radiant yet weary. "You've delayed the inevitable," she said softly. "The old ones sleep deeper now, but their hunger will not fade. This is your burden, Hunter." Elara nodded, her breath steadying as she leaned on her bow. Her companions stared in awe, their weapons still raised, but she waved them down. "We go home," she said, "and we keep watch." As they trudged back to the village, the woods seemed to sigh around them, a promise of peace and a warning of what lay ahead. Elara knew her days as a lone hunter were over. The Whispering Woods had claimed her, and she would face its mysteries until the end. The village lights flickered in the distance, a beacon of hope amid the encroaching dark, and with her new allies at her side, she stepped forward into an uncertain future.